Thank you for joining today's event. We will begin shortly. Thank you for joining. We will begin in a few more minutes. Thanks for your patience. Thank you for joining. Please enjoy the event.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the Youth in Focus Mayoral Candidates Respond Forum. My name is Cheyenne, and I'll be your host for tonight. The forum is powered by real questions from young New Yorkers, and tonight our city's next potential mayor will answer questions directly from you. Our forum is being hosted by Next 100 and several youth-serving nonprofit organizations across New York City. You can check them all out on our Eventbrite page, the page that you registered from. I'd like to welcome to our forum today the following candidates for Democratic nomination for mayor: Speaker Adams and former Assemblyman Michael Blake, and we will be joined by Senator Jessica Ramos very shortly. I'd like to inform the audience that in addition to the candidates you see with us here today, we also had commitments from Comptroller Brad Lander, former Comptroller Scott Stringer, Zelnor Myrie, and Whitney Tilson to attend tonight's forum, but they recently informed us that they would not be able to attend. Regardless of that, we're still excited to have the 600 youth who RSVP'd. An extra shout out to the candidates who are in attendance and were able to make it. So now a few housekeeping rules. Please note that this event is being recorded and live streamed. If you'd like to submit a question for our panelists, please do so by using the chat feature on YouTube. And tonight's event includes access for those benefiting from American Sign Language and foreign language translation. Lastly, a few ground rules for our candidates. Each candidate will have a set time for every section. We'll keep things moving and fair. However, if you go over time, your mic will kindly be muted. The order for each section has been randomized and will be announced at the beginning of each section. We ask all candidates to be respectful of each other. And most importantly, this is a space for youth by youth. And by the way, nice sweaters, candidates. So when you come on camera, you can definitely show off the sweaters that the steering committee and all the youth designed together to give to the candidates as a thank you. So without further ado, welcome to a space where young people lead the conversation, not just listen to it. Now, let's get right to the candidates. Candidates, we're going to start with a classic. You have 90 seconds to introduce yourself and tell us what your top 3 priorities for New York City are and why. Team, please set the timer for 90 seconds. Actually, wait, go back and reset it. Wait till Speaker Adams speaks. First, we'd like to hear from Speaker Adams. You have 90 seconds.
Thank you, Cheyenne. So proud of you, Cheyenne. You did it. You did it. Cheyenne's my girl. Sorry, everybody else, but she knows how much I love her. So glad to be with you here, Youth in Focus. I am Adrienne Adams. I am the first Black Speaker of the New York City Council. I am also the first mother and grandmother to lead the City Council and the very first women majority and most diverse City Council in the history of our city. I am running for mayor to be the first woman. We want another first. So to be the first woman mayor of the city of New York, I'm really excited about this race. There is a lot of excitement around my campaign. My priorities, of course, would be education. You know, as a mother and a grandmother, I'm very, very involved in education and bringing back some of the things that we have lost as far as education is concerned. We know that our mayor had cut funding for education. Well, the city council under my leadership put that funding back. We intend to do a whole lot more in this new city budget. The only candidate in the race that has actually successfully passed a city budget 3 times. Now we're on the way to do our 4th. We will also take care of looking at public safety as well with innovative eyes, not just by bringing in brand new police officers, but by building on the vacancies and filling the vacancies that we have in law enforcement this time around. And we also want to take police out of the business of mental health. We want to take them out of the business of social work, and we want to put the real people with the real expertise in those job opportunities. My time is up. It is a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you so much, Speaker Adams. Now we will have Assemblymember Blake. Go ahead.
What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? Good to see you all. Michael Blake, for those that are wanting to know, I have on a dark blue suit and a blue tie and a white shirt. I know we were asked to say that in the chat as well for those for accessibility purposes. Let me start by saying thank you. And please remember, everyone here, the candidates who actually showed up for you. Because we all have a lot of things happening, and we all knew this was happening for weeks. Don't forget that Adrian Adams and Michael Blake, I think you said Jessica Ramos, said yes to still be here. Adrian and I here first, so show us Ski Fi love, okay? Just so we're clear out there. And shout out, I can't see her, but to Annie Minguez, who is absolutely like a sister to me. I am so grateful for her and her leadership always. My name is Michael Blake. I'm running to be the second Alpha mayor in New York City. David Dinkins was, of course, our first. I'm that young brother from the Bronx, New York, born and raised, worked for President Obama, which we definitely miss him right now. I was an assembly member where we created the My Brother's Keeper program. So more our young people can go to school and graduate from school. And I want to be a mayor to make sure that you can make and keep more money in your pocket, that you can have actual affordability, and that we can change the game together. Let's end credit scores so that you can actually have homes that are more affordable. Let's have civics, financial literacy, and mental health. And let's actually make sure that young people are at the table, not just being told by old people what's best for you.
That sounds good. Thank you so much, candidates. We appreciate that. That was an amazing introduction. Okay, so now it's time to loosen things up with our first round of Spin the Wheel. This is where we get to know you on a human level. It's going to be really, really exciting. We're going to do 2 quick rounds of Spin the Wheel with a personal question, spinning the wheel on each candidate's behalf. My team will do that on our side. And then you will each have 30 seconds to answer your question. Then after that, after 2 rounds of that, we'll do a round of substantive policy questions where you'll get 1 minute to respond to each of those questions, and those questions will be asked by a youth from the Youth in Focus Steering Committee. So let's get to the silly wheel. Let's see. Let's have our thank you team for pulling up that silly wheel. Let's spin it. The first question goes to Assemblyman Blake, and the question reads, if you had to be roommates with another candidate, even if they aren't here, who would it be? And which other candidate would drive you nuts? You have 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Well, obviously, Andrew Cuomo would drive me nuts. So that's an easy one to work backwards right there. Yeah, so there's no way we could let that happen. And probably Eric Adams, too. There's 2 of them. You know, they can't get down with us here. I had to be roommates with another candidate. I'm gonna say Zelnor because Zelnor has been talking a big game that he could step. And since I'm an alpha and Adrian's an AKA, I feel like we both actually are better steppers. So I would want to see if Zelnor could actually step. So I'm gonna say Zelnor.
Okay, that sounds great. I love that answer. Okay, hide the choice team, and then we will spin. Can we have both candidates on the side of the screen at all times so I can see them as well? Okay, the next question will go to Speaker Adams. You have 30 seconds to answer the question. What is the secret habit that you're a little bit embarrassed about?
Can I just tell you, I'm loving this silly wheel. I'm going to use this. Y'all are so good. I knew there was a reason that I chose you guys tonight. This is so good. A secret habit that I'm embarrassed about. Oh, yeah. I'm embarrassed that I tend to bite my lip. It's a nervous habit, and I tend to bite my lip. Don't how many of you on here, please don't tell anybody that, because then they'll be looking for me to actually do it, and I have to reapply my lipstick a lot because I bite my lip. That I'm embarrassed now. Success. No.
Okay, we thank you for that. We will now be going back to Assemblymember Blake. Team, you can hide the choice and spin the wheel again. Your question is, what is your bodega order?
I'm a pastrami and cheese guy. No, come on, I'm a Bronx guy. I know y'all thought I was gonna say chopped cheese, but pastrami and cheese is how I get down. So we gotta let y'all know that all day, every day.
Sounds good. Okay, team, hide the choice and spin the wheel. Speaker Adams, the question is, New York City youth are addicted to blank, fill in the blank.
Social media! Stop it! Just kidding. Y'all gotta slow down on it though, guys. Right, Mike? Just tell us to slow down a little bit, just a little bit. But it's social media. You all know it. You all know it.
Yeah. Snaps on that. Snaps on that.
Okay, team, hide the choice, and I think we can do one last spin the wheel silly question. Assemblyman Blake, your next question is, if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
So since I'm from Jamaica, bless up to the Caribbean massive on the line right now. Eat oxtail, rice and peas, carrot juice every day, every day. And then for Easter Sunday, black cake, black cake. You already know that.
As a Caribbean gal, we accept
A
that.
true, a true, a true, a true.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you both so much for answering those questions. That was amazing. Now onto the substantive, I always have trouble with that word, question wheel. Team, you can pull up that wheel. Cool, amazing, thank you. Substantive wheel. Okay, so these questions will be asked by a young person that was a part of the Youth in Focus steering committee. We're super excited to have them. And so go ahead, team, spin the wheel, and I'll say which youth the question is assigned to. Cool. The first question is for Speaker Adams. Katrina, go ahead. You can unmute and read your question.
Hi, my name is Katrina, and I'm from You Gotta Believe nonprofit organization. And my question for you today is, how do you plan to expand opportunities for high quality, affordable housing?
Thank you, Katrina. We're actually in the midst of doing this right now as we speak. You know, on the council, we passed a proposal that the mayor had brought to us in one iteration, but we actually changed it. So he called it City of Yes. We call it City of All because we actually expanded. I added $5 billion to that proposal. And I actually am taking care of infrastructure with $1 billion. I'm taking care of retention of our Mitchell-Lama and our NYCHA residents. I'm also making sure that we've got City FEPS vouchers so that people can stay in their homes. So affordable is expansive. It's not just building, but it's also taking care of what we have in the existing inventory of what we have in housing stock as well. As far as being affordable, we've got to build it in order for it to be affordable. So that's the way that we make it affordable. We also want to get folk in a room to tell us exactly what affordability looks like to you. Mikey is going to talk about AMI, so I'm going to let him school you all on AMI. That's his thing. School of Mike on the AMI, brother.
That sounds cool. Thank you so much
Awesome.
for that answer. Our team will now spin the wheel again, and a different question will go to Assemblymember Blake. Cool. So Jack will be reading this question. Go ahead, Jack.
Hello, everybody. My name's Jack. I'm in 10th grade and I'm in an airport right now, so excuse any background noise. But I have an interesting question. In your view, is there a positive quality or something that you admire about Trump and his administration?
That it'll be over soon.
Short and sweet. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, team, go ahead. Spin the wheel again. Speaker Adams, this is your question that will be read by Destiny.
Hello, my name is Destiny. I work at Start Empowerment. I'm 24 years old. I'm in New York City right now in Queens. And I want to ask, as mayor, how would you ensure that there's adequate education on climate, considering New York City has been a major proponent of supporting climate education through its programs?
Great question, Destiny. Thank you. You know, I am a real fan of campaigns, not political campaigns, but media campaigns. Growing up, and it's way before any of you were probably ever thought of, and taking a look at our sanitation issues and our littering issues, we had a thing called the litter bug. And the litter bug was something when I was growing up that it really kind of shamed adults from throwing litter on the ground and tossing things where they didn't need to be tossed outside of a trash can. I happen to feel that way about campaigns with a lot of things. I think climate control is one of those things that needs an expansive look so that we can capture all ages, from the oldest to the youngest. If we have a great media campaign on climate control, it's going to create education around it, why it's important, what we're looking at. Some people think of it as only one thing, clean air. Some people think of it as clean water. It is so much more than that. We need to take a look at our fossil fuels and a lot of things. So I would put forth a campaign, be it on social media, television, the whole gamut. We need a campaign around climate control.
Thank you for that, Speaker Adams. We appreciate that answer. I see we're being joined now by Senator Ramos, so I think our team can set the timer for a quick 90 seconds so she can get a chance to introduce herself. Go
Okay,
ahead,
well,
Ramos.
hi everyone. I'm New York State Senator Jessica Ramos, candidate for mayor, and I am so honored to be before all of you to talk about all of the issues that are at the top of our young people's minds. I know that in conversations with many young people right now in this upside down world that we're living in, the future can seem bleak. But I can tell you as a survivor of the 2007 recession, that there is a greener pasture on the other side, and that each and every one of you as a leader plays a very important role in helping us achieve the type of world we do want to live in. I am running on the guarantee of one good job precisely to answer our many crises that we're facing: the climate crisis, the affordable housing crisis, the lack of childcare, elder care that we have right now. And this is why I want to expand our summer youth employment program to be year round, to make sure that we are giving young people the opportunity to not only help their parents out and themselves as hopefully you continue your studies, but also so you hopefully can start contributing to your retirement a little earlier, and that you are able to have a greater job satisfaction later on in life because you would have had the opportunity to find your true match, and in the way that you contribute to our city. So thank you for having me. I've been a public servant for 20 years. I was a member of the previous mayoral administration. I started my career as a staffer in the New York City Council during the Bloomberg administration 20 years ago. I worked for many unions prior to my appointment to the de Blasio administration. I was part of the team that delivered on universal pre-K. And I helped run the strategy for community and ethnic media. I've now been in the Senate for 7 years, where I've chaired the Labor Committee throughout my entire tenure. I'm the state senator who raised the minimum wage and tied it to inflation. And I am excited to answer your questions.
Thank you so much for that, Senator Ramos. Thank you for joining. I think now we can give one last question, a spin the wheel, the substantive question to Senator Ramos, and then we will be able to move on to the next section. So team, can you pull up the spin the wheel really quickly? Okay, cool. Just to remind everybody, I think we have 90 seconds. We have 1 minute for the substantive question. So this question will be read by Lily for Senator Ramos.
You guys can hear me?
Yep.
All right. My question is, what can the New York City government do to best support young people aging out of the foster care system and juvenile justice systems?
First and foremost, what we need to do is provide housing. Putting housing first for all people who are a part of a vulnerable population. We really should be leading with housing first, and then providing the supports that are needed, the wraparound services that are needed to support that individual to thrive. And so I want to really, especially thinking about my district, also want to make sure that we're helping young LGBTQ community people who are also many times on the brink of homelessness and just can't afford, especially at such a young age, to be able to provide for themselves because, well, the wages are too damn low and the rent is too damn high. So government has to provide an opportunity for them to be able to land on their feet, and it starts with housing.
That was perfect, perfect timing. So thank you so much. Before we move on to our next section, I would like to remind the audience that we had commitments to for the candidates to attend from Scott Stringer, Brad Lander, Whitney Tilson, and Zelnor Myrie, and in addition to the 3 candidates we currently have, and we greatly appreciate the 3 of you being here tonight. We just wanted to give an extra shout out and say thank you so much for being here and supporting the youth. So now it's time for rapid fire. Here's how it works. A young person will ask a question that all the candidates will respond to. Each candidate will have just 1 sentence, and I really mean 1 sentence because time is really tight. So you've got 25 seconds each to answer each question and keep it clear and sharp. So let's dive in. The first question will be asked by Justin. Go ahead, Justin. Okay, I will ask our question since Justin seems to be having a little bit of technical difficulties. The first question goes to Speaker Adam.
Hi, I'm sorry. Can you
No,
hear
go ahead.
me?
Yeah, so we can hear you. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm having a little difficulty, but one question that I have is, how do you plan to protect and support undocumented immigrant youth, both those inside of foster care and outside of the foster care system, who are not a threat to the community, but who often face instability and lack of legal protection and barriers to essential services?
Thank you for the question, Justin. I will be implementing a guaranteed basic income program, which the senator touched on just a little bit, an idea about housing and guaranteed income. And one of the areas that I'm looking at is individuals aging out of foster care and homeless youth. So details to come, but I do have a plan for that.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
That sounds great. Go ahead, Assemblymember Blake.
Multiple ways here. We have to ensure legal protections for you. We have to ensure that we stop the stigmas against you, because too often there's the disrespect that's happening to the community. We have to ensure that our nonprofits that are supporting you are getting paid faster and on time. We have to equally embrace the reality that all of our communities have to be honored and respected, and that's currently not happening at all. And so having a mayor who is a son of immigrants can stand up for you in that regard, and that's what I would do.
All right. Well, daughter of immigrants here. My mom crossed the Mexican border to come here in the 70s. I'm the first American born in my family. I think what could help our undocumented youth the most is making sure that they have access to legal services, which can very often be costly. And we've seen this with asylum seekers when only a third of them have actually been able to apply for asylum, when we're a town with, I think, just about 7 law schools, and we haven't had an immigration clinic yet.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for that. Our next question is from Roberto, so we'll turn it over to ask him for him to ask his question. Remember, you have 25 seconds. Go ahead, Roberto.
Hey, I'm Roberto. So my question is, do you think New York City needs more, fewer, or the same number of police officers as currently present in our subways?
The first person to go is Speaker Adams.
Well, Roberta, if you're speaking specifically for the subways, I honestly don't think we need any more police officers in the subways itself. I rode the subway a couple of weeks ago, and quite frankly, people looked fine. They looked comfortable, and I personally didn't see any police officers in any of the subway cars. So I can't say that I'm going to sign on to having more of them present in the subways when I personally didn't even see one.
Assemblyman Blake.
We need fewer police officers in subways. We need more mental health professionals to address the mental health crisis that are happening in subways every single day. And we've laid out this entire vision of what this can be. More police does not lead to better policing. We need better policing and we need more mental health support.
Senator Ramos.
Rode the subway a few hours ago, and I did see people struggling with your mental illness. I don't think there's anything compassionate about leaving them without the care that they need. I don't know that bringing police who carry guns into the equation actually solves the issue. We have to reopen the mental health institutions that Andrew Cuomo closed. I would not increase the number of police officers in the subway. I would reassess deployment.
Thank you so much for that, candidates. Now, our next question is from Natalie. Go ahead, Natalie.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. My question is, would you support replacing the current shelter system with a housing first model, even if it means cutting funding from other departments?
Thank you, Natalie. Housing first, I think that all of us are fans of housing first. So I'll just put that out there. I see the senator nodding. Housing, you can't go wrong with housing first. It is a model that works. It is something that that keeps people stable, and that's what we all want. We want stabilized housing. So the answer to your question would be, unequivocally yes.
Thank you for that, Assemblyman Blake.
Absolutely. We all agree here. And again, this is very personal. My family was homeless in Jamaica. We sold dinners to keep our place here in New York. And we need to actually utilize programs that are right for us. And Housing First is exactly that. And this is one of those areas where I don't think you're going to hear any disagreement from us on this.
Thank you.
We have wasted so much in taxpayer dollars. Shelter system that should be made to be obsolete. Housing first is the way to get us there.
Thank you for those answers, candidates. The next question is from me. I'll ask it. There has been allegations of nepotism in the government. How do you approach making key appointments? Speaker Adams, go ahead.
One of my favorite subjects, because I happen to be working alongside someone in the same City Hall building that has brought along cronies and people with scandal, and it's just been a mess. The way that I would approach it in my administration as mayor would be to bring in the people with the best qualifications to handle the jobs as deputy mayors. I've done that in my committee chairs in the city council. I will continue to do that as mayor, get those qualified people in to do the best jobs that they're assigned to do.
Assemblyman Blake.
Hire people who actually know what they're doing. Don't hire people who don't know what the hell they're talking about. And so this is from all levels of experience. My level of experience as a local community leader, level of experience as an assembly member, local national experience in the White House, President Obama. I know how to pick the right people. I will do that as mayor, and specifically younger people of color and more women to be in these roles of positions of power.
Yeah, the job of mayor really is about to bring a common vision to all of the city agencies. I think we have to hire the experts in the respective fields and actually let them do their job. Very proud to say that I have two sisters. I have not promised either one of them a job, and I don't think they'd actually be interested. They have their own careers, and there are plenty of talented people in New York City, in every borough and in every community that is qualified to serve New York City.
Thank you so much for those answers, candidates. The last question will also be asked by me, and it is, as we all know, we have ranked choice voting in New York City. Who should voters rank second after you and why? Speaker Adams, you have 25 seconds.
Okay, I'm going to answer it this way. I'm the last one to get into this race. I am still sizing up all of my wonderful colleagues to see whose political views and others line up with my own. So I have not yet determined the answer to that question.
Assemblymember Blake, go ahead.
I'm not going to say yet, but what I will say is you got 3 of us who joined the line and the rest of them canceled on y'all. So as you're thinking about who to be ranking in your 5, find the ones who stayed with you. Full stop.
And to all of that, I'll just add, don't rank Andrew Cuomo.
Claps on those answers. Okay, that was great. Thank you all for answering our rapid fire questions. The next round is called Call the Mayor. You'll hear from real young people acting out scenarios based on their lived experiences. These questions are serious and powerful, and many young people in New York City go through these issues. Candidates, imagine you are already the mayor. You have a minute and a half to respond to the young person on the line. What would you say and what would you do? You'll all have 3 scenarios to respond to. So team, please set the timer for 90 seconds and have it run while the candidate starts speaking. We'll start with Assemblyman Blake. Your first call comes from Letitia. So Letitia, go ahead. You can unmute and read your question.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Leticia. And hi, Mayor. I'm 17 years old and I've applied to SYUP every year since I was 14 years old, but nothing. Over 75,000 of us are still left out each year. If you believe every young person deserves a job, how will you create enough paid opportunities so we're not stuck in the lottery system? And so that those who do get in aren't left with jobs that only last part of the summer.
I wasn't able to hear the beginning part of the question from Leticia. I heard a part about SYP. I want to make sure I heard the beginning so I hear that correctly.
Yeah, I can repeat it again.
Yeah,
Oh,
go ahead.
Yeah, can someone else repeat it, Philly? Yeah.
Cheyenne, would you like to do?
Okay, I can read it. Hi, Mayor. I'm 17 and I've applied to SYEP every year since I was 14 but never got in. Even though you said that the program is expanding, over 75,000 of us are still left out each year. If you believe every young person deserves a job, how will you create enough paid opportunities so that we're not stuck in the lottery system and so that those who do get in aren't left with jobs that only last part of the summer?
Absolutely. And Leticia and Cheyenne, everyone, thank you very much. So let me give context. As a young person myself, 42, who created the My Brother's Keeper program, which we're still the only one in the country that has that. Everything I think about is how do we make sure we give more opportunities for our young people, and specifically when it comes to jobs. So to your question, we need to increase the amount of spots and bring in more employers to do this. We can incentivize by an employer saying, you want a New York City contract? Well, we have an expectation that you're going to hire our young people and young people of color. You want to collaborate with us on different New York City initiatives? We will have an expectation that you will have dedicated slots to hire in our young people. Similarly, when we think about the academic institutions that we're collaborating with, if they're not paying taxes, there should be an expectation that they're hiring young people so you have more additional spots as well. And equally, if we paid our nonprofits faster, then we can also expand in that regard. Equally, for all the jobs that are vacant in the city right now, we need to be finding more ways to actually plug in our young people to those spots, even in that temporary time period for SYP. But we can expand that out because if someone demonstrates their greatness, maybe they can sustain to do that on a temporary basis thereafter. And so funding that with dedicated slots and bringing in more employers for that continuity is what we would do. Lastly, I did this with the prompt pay bill in the assembly. I did this with my minority women business program in the White House. I would do that as mayor to make sure that our young people are not waiting on a slot, but rather getting paid for your work.
Thank you so much for that. Assemblyman, your next call comes from Lily. Go ahead, Lily. You can unmute yourself and come on camera and read your question. Okay, I can read Lily's question really quick. So, hi, Mayor. I'm 18. A few months ago, my guardian signed me out of foster care. I thought that I'd finally have a stable home, but then they kicked me out. Now I don't qualify for any support from ACS or housing help because they say I left care voluntarily, but I really didn't choose this. What are you doing for youth like me who are caught in this gap and have no support or no safety net and no family?
And that's for me again, not for someone else to just make clear. We would partner with groups such as, well, let me start with the humanity of it. It's inhumane that someone who is a foster child is being kicked out, full stop. And so we would partner with groups such as Think of Us, led by Six Till Cancel, to say very clearly, let's collaborate to find the actual parents and providers that will ensure that you have that support of housing, of a job, of education, and the wraparound services that you need that you're currently not receiving. Moreover, for those that actually kick someone out, honestly, they should be banned from having access to another foster child before later on, because they should not be given the ability to be able to effectively make money, but then not have the humanity of taking care of the child thereafter. When we see that right now, 1 out of 8 New York City public school students are homeless, and we understand the broader dynamic, what's happening in the communities, we have to find more ways to ensure that you have a home that is safe and secure. And for anyone that is not actually protecting you, we should be taking away the provisions for them. That is what I would do as mayor. And I've incorporated this as part of our holistic plan. If you all go onto our site, lakenyc.com, you'll see one of the elements there is what are we doing around foster youth and foster children and the broader wellness vision of what we have.
So much for that, Assemblyman Blake. Your last call comes from Ramik. Go ahead, Ramik. You can read your question.
Can y'all hear me? All right, cool. Hi, Mayor. I'm 21 and I take the train to school, work, and to get home every day, and I ride with fear. I've seen people get harassed, followed, and even attacked, but I've also seen people sleeping on the cold subway benches because they have nowhere else to go. What's your plan to make the subway safer without turning it to a place where people experiencing homelessness or mental health struggles get arrested or pushed deeper into the system?
First, my heart is full hearing a young king ask a question like that. So much respect to you right there. So let's be clear. If someone is asleep on a subway, they didn't just get there that day. It means there were deeper mental health concerns and economic challenges and homelessness that was all happening at the same time. So when Speaker Adams was giving me a shout out earlier talking about AMI, I do believe this starts by the economic conditions that are happening in our communities. And I do believe, to your question, we need to have a local median income, because if we did that, to your question, then actually people could pay their bills faster and better. Second, we need more funding for overdose prevention centers and opioid settlement funds, and help someone who is struggling with involuntary confinement so they can get the help that they need with mental health professionals. Third, we need to make sure that we have officers with body cameras on doing street patrol, and then mental health professionals actually in the subways. That's what makes more sense here. And then when you leave from this and have that safety is the collective experience. So that means more lighting when you come off from the subway, less scaffolding when you're in the communities, and being very clear that if you help people make more money, keep more money, and have a house over their head, it's unlikely that they're then going down the road of being homeless on a subway. We are not addressing the issues on the front end. And so when I talk about helping someone with affordable housing, helping someone keep a home, helping someone keep more money in their pocket, and with mental health.
Thank you so much for that answer, Assemblyman. Thank you for your section and Call the Mayor. So next up, we've got Senator Ramos. Your first call to mayor comes from Letitia. Go ahead, Letitia. You can read your question.
And today, that's asking the mental health question, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Hi there. My name is Leticia, and I have a friend who is dealing with depression and anxiety. They're scared to ask for help, and they don't have insurance. And most of the clinics we looked at said there's a 2-month wait. If you're mayor right now, what's one practical thing you do to help them today?
Hi, Leticia. You're a really good friend. For you to go out and actually seek resources that your friend needs. And since I'm mayor, my administration has already implemented mental health services at all of our city hospitals so that we're destigmatizing mental health services and actually aiding people. And I apologize, I'm actually getting out of the car at the same time. So that we're actually aiding people in getting the services that they need and in the languages that they speak. That's really important in order to make sure that we are diagnosing folks and getting them the behavioral and cognitive therapists that they need in a way that is supportive and not punitive.
Thank you so much for that answer, Senator. Your next question comes from Natalie. Go ahead, Natalie.
Hello again. My question is, hi, Mayor. I'm a student and a green card holder. I've seen the news about people like me who have legal status getting detained by ICE. Some are students, some are just trying to go to work. I thought New York City was a sanctuary city. What are you doing to protect people like me who are following every rule but still don't feel safe? Thank you.
Natalie, we are a sanctuary city, and we are looking to advocate for you and everyone else's right to due process to be protected. We have legal services available should you need them, and I'm happy to make sure my team and I are connecting you to those services so that you have the proper legal representation to safeguard your stay here in the city that you know and love. And if there are any other services that you may need, I'm sure that we're able to help you make sure that you have a job, that you have a roof over your head, and that you can find the stability you're seeking. We are hoping to, of course, given the orange occupant of the White House, to keep ICE out of our schools, out of our hospitals, out of our houses of worship, our libraries, and every public institution that is within our domain.
Thank you so much for that, Senator. Your next question, and which is your last question, comes from Zaquana. Zaquana, you can go ahead.
Hi, Mayor. I'm 22 and I've been in and out of shelters since I was a teen. I aged out of most youth programs at 21, and even with a housing voucher, I've been searching for over a year. Landlords ignore me, brokers ask for extra fees, and the apartments I'm offered are in buildings with roaches, leaks, or no heat. What's your plan to make sure youth like me aren't pushed into broken housing, or worse, left with nothing at all? Where's the safe and permanent housing for young people in shelters? Right now, it feels like the system gave me a key to a door that doesn't exist.
Hey, Zaquana. Well, thank you for your question. And since I'm mayor, we actually have people in city government ready to play matchmaker and connect you to landlords who are seeking tenants that are participating in your voucher program. So you don't have to navigate the real estate market alone. And we, of course, have a youth job guarantee available to make sure that you're able to increase your income, have a great opportunity that leads to job satisfaction, financial stability, and we can help you secure an apartment. And by the way, if there are landlords really doing all of those things, we've probably already held them accountable to make sure that they are not doing that to tenants. And if we need to take away their buildings because they're unfit to be a landlord, we're ready to do that too.
Thank you so much for those answers, Senator. Next, and finally, we got Speaker Adams. Your first call comes from Sharia. Go ahead, Sharia. Go ahead, Sharia, we can hear you.
Hello, I apologize. My question is, hi Mayor, I'm a student in public high school in the Bronx. Our classrooms are overcrowded. We barely have working AC or heat, and we don't have enough teachers or updated textbooks. If you care about education equity, what are you doing to make sure students in schools like mine get the same resources as wealthier schools?
Thank you, Sharia, for the question. And first of all, as mayor, this should never be happening to you. So I'm going to offer you an apology if that is your experience in one of our schools. So what I'm going to make sure that I do is I am going to send our chancellor, who has the job of overseeing all of the schools for the Department of Education, directly to your school first thing in the morning. But before I do that, I'm going to have her call your principal this evening before she ever gets home. So that will be her assignment immediately, to call your principal, to have a personal discussion with your principal, and relay your concerns and find out why the chancellor is not aware of the difficulties in your school right now, why you are having these difficulties and the lack of these resources when we already know that these resources are available to other schools. So I want to find out, what is the stopgap there? Is there racism involved? Is it because of your zip code? And that is an absolute no-no. So as mayor, I will make sure that that is not a factor, but I will make sure that I have my chancellor get on it and get with your principal immediately today.
Thank you so much for that answer, Speaker. Your next
Cheyenne, I just have to interrupt because I know I've got a hard stop in like 5 minutes, so I want to make sure I get all these questions.
Okay, we'll try to make them fast. Your next question is also from Shreya. Go ahead, Shreya.
Hello. My next question is, hi Mayor, I'm a high school student and I've been struggling with anxiety, but my school only has one counselor for hundreds of students. Even when I try to get help outside of school, the wait lists are months long. If you say youth mental health matters, what are you doing to actually invest in more counselors, therapists, and care we can access?
Thank you so much, Sharia, for that question. And once again, I actually have an office that oversees mental health for youth. So if your resources are not there, if your needs are not being adequately met, we're going to make sure that we get over to your school. I'm going to personally get involved with this one because this is personal to me, as I've got children your age that are in school and quite frankly have suffered because of the pandemic and have been shut in and shut down. And that has had an effect on them, an effect on the way that they think, the way that they study, and the way that they behave, the things that they take in. So I'm going to take this on personally as your mayor, and I will be visiting your school first thing tomorrow morning. We're going to do those resources with CUNY. That is our pipeline to social work. We're going to find out why there is that stopgap there when I know that the pipeline should be working. We've got these professionals coming out of our CUNY schools to make sure that our resources in mental health and social work are going particularly to our middle and high schools to remedy the experience that you're going through. You should not be going through this. So I will see you up at your school first thing tomorrow, and you're going to tell me exactly and show me what it is that's going on. We're going to go to the rooms that you say there's one person, and I'm going to personally be accountable to you.
Thank you so much for that answer, Speaker. Your last question comes from Erica, who I know you know. Go ahead, Erica. Erica, you can go ahead. Okay. Actually, then I will read Erica's question. Hi, Mayor. I'm 20 and I'm a justice impacted youth. I'm ready to rebuild my life, but every time I apply for a job, housing, or even a training program, I get turned away because of my record. It feels like the punishment never ends. What will you do to ensure employers give people like me a real chance? And what resources will you invest in to support young people coming home so we can actually move forward?
Hi, Erica. I see you, and I hope all is well. What I'm going to do is I am going to bring you to City Hall with me. We have a million vacancies. I'm sure that there is something with your name on it right there in City Hall. We're going to go look at the website first, and then you're going to tell me what you like. We need you. We need your talent, and we absolutely need your energy and your youth energy to come to City Hall. So I am going to introduce you to job opportunities in my house in City Hall as your mayor. And we're going to make sure that you find something quickly, expeditiously that is going to make you happy and profitable and stable.
Thank you.
Thank you for answering that.
Thank you, Erica.
Okay, speaker, I know you have to go, so we're just going to give you the last 2 minutes to say a really quick closing statement, and then we can move on to our next section with our last two candidates.
Thank you so much, Cheyenne. I'll just say again how proud I am of you. I know your colleagues probably don't want to hear this, but I'm just so proud of you for ushering in. This is your dream, to have a mayoral forum for youth, and you've done it with your colleagues. So all of you on this, I'm just so proud to be here with you to watch this actually come to fruition for you. I am Adrienne Adams, and I need your vote to be the first woman mayor of the city of New York. I have been leading this city for almost 4 years alongside the current mayor, who we see does not want to collaborate with the other side of City Hall, which is the council, the council of the city. And I basically have had to step up where the mayor, quite frankly, has not wanted to lead or we should not be paying for the misdeeds of a mayor that has not stepped up for the interest of the people. My tagline is Adrienne for the People. Please do visit my website. It's adrienneforthepeople.com. I am here as, again, family woman. I live the experiences of you and all of my neighbors. If I didn't know your experiences, I have no business leading you as your representative or as your mayor. But as your neighbor, I intend to step up because your interests are my interests, as they always have been. I've been walking up the steps of City Hall for almost 10 years, so I know the building like the back of my hand, and also in leadership, restoring things that the current mayor has cut, making sure that your libraries are open. We want 7-day service in every neighborhood. We want to make sure that your housing is stable, that you have access to food in communities where pantries have been cut. I'm going to make sure that that is unheard of in my administration. So once again, please look for me, support me. I need your vote. It's adrienneforthepeople.com. I appreciate you all very much. Great job on this forum.
Thank you so much, speaker. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
We'd like to give our two remaining candidates 3 more policy questions, and then give them an opportunity for a closing statement. And then after that, we'll hear about ranked choice voting and all the things to do with voting from voter registration organization called Headcount. So thank you so much, Senator Ramos and Assemblyman Blake, for staying on with us. We really appreciate your time. Let me see. So for our final set of questions for the candidates, we'll turn to some policy questions. In this section, candidates will have a chance to answer in depth about some questions that youth deem really pressing in New York City. Our candidates will answer each question and we'll have 1 minute each. Our first question will be read by Zaquana. So Zaquana, do you want to go off mute and read your question? We will have Assemblyman Blake answer first. Team, please set the timer for 1 minute.
Many young people under 25 use housing vouchers to end their homelessness. But recently, HUD has suggested that people under 25 years old will no longer be eligible for Section 8 vouchers or referrals to NYCHA housing. Will you make it a priority to ensure that New York City creates housing vouchers that people under 25 can use, and work with the city to allow NYCHA to accept referrals from people under 25?
Absolutely be a priority to make sure that anyone under 25 has that protection. We got to make sure that they take the vouchers. If we have entities that say that they don't want to take the vouchers, then it's our job to take away their licenses and abilities to actually have access to opportunities in New York, because we're not going to spur young homelessness. I mentioned this at the beginning. Again, it's personal for me. My mama literally slept on church pews in Jamaica. And I was that kid that sold dinners at Crescent and Burnside and Bronx, make sure we kept our place. So like, I'm not going to allow there to be a scenario where that's the case for you. And our job has to be protecting you as young people every single way. We have an administration in DC that does not care about you. You need to have an administration in City Hall that's actually making sure that you have a roof over your head. And that's all a part of the vision we laid out in our Welcome Home plan to make sure that vouchers are being taken and that you are being respected for who you are.
We definitely have the option of expanding city voucher programs like City FEPs, but frankly, when it comes to NYCHA, we also have to do the right work and the right repairs to unwarehouse the 5,000 apartments that the city has been holding on to. We have not only foster youth who have, lost their housing. We have 200,000 New Yorkers on the waiting list for NYCHA apartments. This is also a great source of jobs because we're going to need to hire people to actually fix up these apartments. So there is a lot that we can do in order to make sure that we're prioritizing the people who need the help the most.
Thank you, candidates, for those answers. Our next question will be read by Roberto. Roberto, do you want to unmute and read your question?
Yeah, so my question is, do you believe undocumented youth in New York City should have access to city-funded job and internship programs? If so, how will you ensure their eligibility?
100%. I mean, I think we both adamantly can agree on this. And the two of us talk about immigrant rights more than anyone else. And I'm going to give Senator Ramos her flowers because, again, she's been highlighting this the most. So first and foremost, we are a city of immigrants. That's what makes us New York. And we have to make sure that not only you're getting jobs, you're getting training opportunities, you're getting preferential treatment when it comes to housing, that we're expanding out our legal protections. Why? Because on the flip side, we have a mayor that's been collaborating with Trump around ICE. ICE has no business at our schools. ICE has no business at our places of worship, at our community centers. It is unconstitutional. It is wrong. And so we will actually work with you to make sure that our immigrant communities are empowered, simultaneously expanding the conversation that it's Latino, it's Caribbean, it's Asian, it's Eastern European, African. All of us as immigrants will have a seat at the table for more jobs, for better housing opportunities, and greater career trajectories while your families are being protected at the same time.
Yeah, the mayor has a responsibility to create entry points in the economy for all undocumented people, including our young undocumented people. This is about respecting a human being's right to self-determination, and making sure that people are contributing to the coffers of our city. This is about acknowledging that working people, including immigrants and including undocumented people, are actually the backbone of our economy in New York City. And that we are well served when every single New Yorker, no matter their zip code or immigration status, is reaching their full potential. That's what makes New York City great. So you can see that, as I've spoken before, I have a youth jobs guarantee. It is not exclusive to US citizens or even green card holders. That is for every young person.
Thank you so much, candidates, for that answer. Our last policy question will be asked by Erica. Erica, you can go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Thank you so much. As mayor, what will you do to make college and trade schools more affordable for low-income and foster youth in New York City, beyond just tuition? Will you fight for funding and city programs that cover the full cost of education, including books, transit, and living expenses, so we can actually stay in school and graduate?
100%. We voted on the true cost of living, and Eric Adams has been so busy about trying to keep his ass out of jail that he's actually not focusing and helping you. And so when we talk about what's happening here, I know y'all young people, but y'all cuss, you'll be fine. Everybody's gonna be fine, right? Like at the end of the day, it's about the totality of your life experience. And so it's providing funding so that you can have higher paid jobs. It's providing funding so you can actually have support for transportation. so that you can have more affordable housing. Because right now you have to be rich or poor enough to get access to homes. I've said regularly, we have to expand the income thresholds when it comes to housing so that you have a better chance of keeping these homes. It's about making sure there's more funding when it comes to food and collaborative experiences of what you're doing when you're going in and out of school, because all of that is tied to how we support you. So the true cost of living is everything I'm talking about in this campaign. It is not just about how you get to one place. It's about how do you pay for everything in your life experience. That is what I will do if you give me the chance to be your mayor. And again, we will lay out that entire vision when you learn more about us at Blake for NYC.
In the Senate, I have championed record funding for our state certified apprenticeship programs. You should not be paying for vocational training. In fact, the point of apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs is that you earn while you learn. That's what we're paying for with our taxpayer dollars already. And I do know that there are a lot of learning institutions out there who are scamming people into believing that they will even connect you to a job after you have learned a skill. This is why I even want to start vocational training a lot earlier and open more vocational high schools in all of our 5 boroughs so that young people have the opportunity to really find their skill set and figure out whether they're a desk person, whether they're a field person, whether they want to work with their hands, or they want to go into human services. You have to be able to make those mistakes early on in order to be able to live a fulfilled life, and the city should be your partner every step of the way.
Thank you so much, candidates, for those answers. Before we get to closing statements, I really want to do this activity with you all, and I know we have a few extra minutes to spare. So, and I know you all have to go, but we have a few minutes to spare, and we really wanted to get to this really quick budget exercise. So we will run through it really quickly. So, team, would you be able to share our budget exercise doc while I explain it to the candidates really quickly? So this is our document. You can look at it from our shared screen. We're giving each of you a really big job. You're the youth budget boss. So here's a scenario for you. Imagine this. A philanthropist has given a grant of $100 million for New York City mayor to allocate towards youth on top of already existing city programs and services in a given year. All candidates, both of you, will get 30 seconds to think and then 60 seconds to walk us through how you allocated your money and why. So you can take a look at this document, see all the sections we put out for you, and then team, if you can set the timer for 60 seconds, and then we will start with Senator Ramos and Assemblymember Blake, and then we can move to closing statements.
Do you want me to put these in order of priority? Is that what it is? Is that what the question is?
Well, yes.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, team. You can keep sharing the screen. Team, if we can not put the QR code for a sec, just put the budget exercise up and then give them 60 seconds to think. Senator, if you're talking, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. I said, so I started out by saying that in staying true to the housing first mission, that is going to be the first priority in putting this money. And actually, when it comes to the larger city budget, $100 million is actually not that much money, and should be able to perhaps help us start converting a lot of the unused office space into the residences and dorms for supportive housing that we need. So I don't know that we would be able to move the needle on one specific thing with only $100 million. I mean, a lot of these are priorities like mental health, but we would need more than $100 million even to bring mental health to one city hospital.
Thank you so much for that answer, Senator Ramos. Assemblymember Blake, do you want to take a turn to explain what you would rank?
I would start with jobs. I would put half of this money towards jobs. In particular, you addressed the summer youth employment issue that we were raising earlier and have a dedicated allocation so that corporations that are saying they need an extra gap to be able to do this to make sure you get hired. And then I would divide it up equally for the remainder, but let's be clear on terms of what we're doing here. I do think we have to have a heavy focus on civic engagement. I've been talking a lot around that there should be civics, financial literacy, and mental health for every student before they graduate. Doing that allows people to be more aware of the process of where to find funds throughout the rest of the budget. Because as Senator Ramos said, when you're talking about a $114 billion budget, $100 million is not hitting at scale, but it will allow you to be aware of where to find money within that collective budget. So spending at least $5 million around that civic engagement component would be critical to do there. And as it relates to the remaining elements, I would want to work with you all around a participatory process on how and where, from an equitable standpoint, we're allocating those remaining dollars for programs that are being led and trained by young people and people of color.
Thank you so much, candidates, for those answers. So now that we're nearing the end of tonight's forum, we're going to give you both a minute to do a closing statement. And so we will start with Assemblymember Blake for that and then go over to Senator Ramos. Team, please set the timer for a minute. Go ahead.
Proud of you all, excited by you. You continue to show us what's possible when we listen to young people. Again, I want everybody to hear me. My name is Michael Blake. If you want to help someone make and keep more money in your pocket, if you want truly affordable housing where we don't have credit scores for home ownership and rent applications, if you know that we should have public safety and public education and public transportation and mental health all helping at the same time, join us and rock with us on what we're doing. I want you to tell your family, tell your friends. I would love to be your first choice that you rank. Our website, because I know you all are on your phones all the time, as we should be, is BLAKEFORNYC.com. I want you to sign up to volunteer, to get involved in what we're doing, help us organize and shock the city and change the game. My name is Michael Blake, and tomorrow begins today because young people are ready to rock, and I thank y'all.
Well, thank you all for organizing such an important forum so that we can really hear and learn from you about what issues are at the top of your mind. If we put our children and our youth first in our government, then we are only guaranteed to make every generation safer than the last. I'm proud to be the only candidate in this race who's already worked at City Hall. In fact, I've worked in the city council, I've worked in the mayor's office, I've been a senator in Albany. I have a very good perspective about all of the pieces that need to come together in order to finally have a city hall that responds to the needs of our young people and all New Yorkers, because New York City needs to continue to be a city for all, for immigrants, for foster youth, for transgender people, for all people without exception. It's what makes New York great. And I know that you can help me clean up the city, both literally and figuratively, so that we can all be proud of being New Yorkers block by block. Please visit ramosfornyc.com to learn more about our policy platforms, sign up to volunteer, and of course, if you can kick $10 to our campaign, please do so. That always helps. Thank you, and don't forget to vote June 24th.
Thank you so much, candidates. We appreciate your time and being here with us, and we were trying to be flexible with you, so we appreciate you coming. Unlike the other people who committed to us and weren't able to show up, and also we wanted to be respectful of your time and let you go to your other commitments for the night, but we just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us, and we would love to see you in those sweaters that we all made for you. I know, Senator Ramos, we didn't get to give you one, but Mr. Blake, we gave you one, and so we're excited to see you.
I know. I got you. It's at the crib. I just couldn't make it back in time. I didn't want to be late to get on here, but I promise you're going to see me with the sweater.
Oh, I want a sweater. All right.
We were emailing you. Just kidding.
I didn't get it. I'll have to check in with my team, but I would be very proud to rock your colors.
We will
Thank
definitely we'll deliver it to you. Okay. Thank you so much,
All right.
candidates. See you later.
Bye, everyone.
Thank y'all.
For the rest of our viewers, we'll hand it over right now to a voter registration organization called Headcount, and they will tell you all the things about ranked choice voting and give you a presentation. So we'll turn it over right now to Tom from Headcount, and if our team could share their slides, that would be really, really great.
Hello, everyone. Just want to test. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Cheyenne, and thank you to the candidates. That was a wonderful forum. And we're really excited to close it out by talking a little bit about how to ensure that your voice is heard when election time actually rolls around. And so we can go ahead and go to the next slide. A brief introduction of myself. I am Tom Bergen. I work for an organization called Headcount. We are a nationwide organization, but we are based in New York City, and we just seek to educate people about voting and help them register to vote because it can be an intimidating process trying to get your voter registration sorted out, but we want to make it as easy as humanly possible. So the next couple of slides that we are going to look at are kind of a choose your own adventure, depending on where you are in the democratic process. Some of you may already be registered to vote. Some of you may think you're registered to vote, and some of you may need to register to vote today. So we're going to give you a couple of QR codes that will just kind of show you the right place to go in order to do what you need to do before the primary election in June. So we can go to the next slide. If you need to register to vote, we have the QR code here that you can scan that will allow you to register to vote right from your phone today. The only things that you need to register to vote as a New York City voter are either a New York ID, so if you do have a driver's license or other New York ID, or if you know the last 4 digits of your social security number. Those are the only pieces of information that you would need to register to vote right here, right now, in the next 2 minutes. So if you want to go ahead and scan that QR code, if you know you have one or both of those pieces of information, that will get you registered to vote today. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. If you do not have that information, but you want to register to vote, the easiest way for you to do so is going to either be in person or by mail. The QR code on this page will take you to your borough's Board of Elections. So you can physically go in person and say, hey, I need to register to vote, and they'll walk you through the process. Or you can print out a paper voter registration form and mail it into your borough Board of Elections. Either way will get you registered to vote and is a pretty painless and easy process. And then we can go to the next slide. And the final piece of the puzzle is if you think you're registered to vote or you want to just double check before the election, you can go ahead and scan this QR code. Headcount has a tool where you can actually check to make sure that your voter registration is up to date and that you are 100% ready to go. As a reminder, every single time you move, even if it's just down the street or across the neighborhood, you do need to update your voter registration. And so this is a great tool to just make sure that you are 100% ready to go for the election this year. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. And here we just have a couple of important pieces of information for you to keep in mind for yourselves as viewers, but also as you're informing the people in your community about voter registration and the upcoming election. So one of the most important dates to keep in mind is June 24th. That is going to be the day of the New York City primary. That is election day. You can go and vote all day that day, but it's not your only day that you can vote. The early voting period is actually from June 14th to June 22nd. There will be early voting locations all throughout the city where you can show up and vote on your own time. So whatever time works for you will work for the election. And then the last date that's important to keep in mind is June 14th. This is the absolute final day to register to vote as a New York voter. So you want to make sure that you are registered to vote well in advance of this June 14th deadline. And then the last piece of the puzzle on this page that we wanted to highlight is the fact that the primary elections in June are closed primaries. What this means is that when you are registering to vote, you are going to want to declare a political party if you want to participate in that political party's primary elections. So the candidates that we heard from today are all part of the Democratic Party and will be on the Democratic ballot. And if you do not declare a party, you would actually not be able to vote in the Democratic primary or the Republican primary or any other party that you're interested in voting in that is holding a primary election. So again, it is really important to make sure that you declare that party, Otherwise, you might miss out on voting for some important races that you are interested in having your voice heard on. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. Just one other piece that we wanted to highlight is the ranked choice voting, because that is a kind of new concept to us as New York voters. So when you are ranked choice voting, you actually get to order 5 candidates in order of your individual preference. So you do not go and just select one candidate. You actually would choose up to 5 candidates on the ballot. And essentially what occurs is rounds of vote counting, where each ballot is counted with an individual's top vote. And if your top vote is someone who has been taken out because they received the least amount of votes, it would then go to your second vote, and so on and so forth. And these rounds of counting continue until there is a single candidate in each primary that has 50% plus one of the votes. The winner of the Democratic primary, as we heard from the candidates today, will go on to the November 4th election, which will be the general election against the GOP and Independent Party primary winners. And so, yeah, we'll go to the next slide. I believe there's one more. The last thing that we wanted to highlight is just the idea that while it is really exciting that we heard from mayoral candidates today, there are going to be other things on the ballot as well. So we're going to see the mayor on the ballot. We're also going to see the borough president election on the ballot. Borough presidents are a really important piece for each borough's kind of economic development and working to prioritize the development of budget matters, community projects, land use, and all those important things within a specific borough in New York. And then we're also going to see city council elections throughout the city, which of course the city council is the legislative body for the city, actually making and implementing the rules and laws that are what governs our city. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide and hand it over to Diego from the Civic Center, who's going to talk a little bit more about how to engage with voter registration in New York if you are already a registered voter, and how, especially if you're in the school environment, you can maximize your impact ahead of the June election. So again, thank you all so much for listening, and Diego, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Tom. Hi, everyone. My name is Diego Molina Castrillon. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the manager for national programs at the Civic Center. We are a national organization, and I am based out of Miami, Florida. But as you all know, I'm sure you're well aware, everybody follows New York elections very closely. And so I want to talk to you about the opportunity of bringing your peers into the fold. I think most people that attended this forum are well aware of being civically engaged, and we want to present to you an opportunity of how you can bring some of your friends and peers and classmates who might not be aware of the importance of voting and the impact that their vote can have. And so the first thing I want to mention is if you in New York, if you are at least 16, you're able to pre-register. That means that you pre-register, and as soon as you turn 18, you're automatically registered. So it's a great opportunity to consider running a voter registration drive in your high school, not only taking a look at those seniors, but also at juniors and sophomores as well. And if we could go on to the next slide, please. This is particularly important because, as you can see from this chart, the 16 and 17-year-olds are not really pre-registering, and that's very in line with the fact that 18-year-olds are only averaging a 32% registration rate. Our mission as an organization is to kick these numbers up so that next forum that we have, we don't just have 3 candidates show up to a youth forum, we have all of them. It's important for these candidates to realize that you, the youth, are listening and you are a strong voting bloc. So really, this is why we are trying to push this movement forward. If I could go on to the next slide, please. I also want to point out that even though New York City is quite engaged and aware of what is happening, it's not performing as well when it comes to having those 18-year-olds registering. And so, again, we want to improve these numbers. We want to see people registered, and we want our elected officials and our hopeful elected officials, those who are running campaigns and those who plan to run campaigns, to be aware that this is a strong voting bloc and that they should be connecting with you all directly. Next slide, please. And so how do we do this? My organization, we're focused on helping high school students run voter registration drives in their school. We'll provide you with resources, host workshops, tools, and some support throughout the entire drive process. It is a big project to consider, but it's one that is very fulfilling when you see that your friends, your peers are understanding of the importance of voting. Can I go to the next slide, please? And because we recognize that this is a project that takes up time, it takes effort, and it takes a lot of organizing, we reward you with a $150 gift card if you complete the program. Let me be clear, we are not paying you to run a voter registration drive. We are paying you to complete the program. This means attending a workshop, registering your nonpartisan drive, letting us know what your plan for the drive is, and then after your scheduled drive event, letting us know how it went. We support you throughout the entire process and are happy to answer any questions that you might have. But like I said, we recognize that it's a effort and it's a project that takes up time. And so we recognize at least 3 students from every high school, participating high school, with a $150 gift card. Next slide, please. This is some of the ways, some of the resources that we offer. What you see right there, the democracy in a box. Once you register your drive with us, we will take about 2 weeks to send you this physical box where you're going to get t-shirts, so your school community knows that you're a student leader. We'll send you posters so that you're able to advertise. We'll send you everything else you see, stickers, clipboards and pens, so you stop taking them from your teachers. Everything you might need to run your actual drive. Next slide, please. And just in case you are wondering how else we can support you, we have a New York State specific toolkit to support your teachers when they are running, when you are planning to run the drive. Sorry, I stopped because I noticed that the ASL interpreter switched out. Should I continue?
Team, are we go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you. Next slide, please. You can scan the QR code so you can follow us on Instagram. You'll notice that we've made everything accessible to students. It's important to us that people have the resources that they need and that it's easy for you to connect with us. So whether it is emailing me or whether it's reaching out to us through our Instagram, feel free to connect with us. I'm happy to answer any questions. It's important not just for you all to register and vote, but to make sure that your friends, your peers, and those in your community are also ready to vote. And last slide, please. It's as simple as that. The next big election for you all is the mayoral primary, but that is obviously not the only election taking place. We must stay civically engaged, and the best way to do so is making sure that we are registered to vote and that our friends are registered to vote, and we motivate them to make sure that they get out and engage in the polls. Thank you all for your time. Thank you all for attending, and let's get this election going. Thank you.
Okay, team, I think it's cool to stop sharing their slides now. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for attending our youth-led mayoral forum. I just wanted to give a really quick thank you to all of the partner organizations that were a part of this, and we were just so happy that it turned out the way it did, so amazingly, so beautifully. We had some great candidates. And I wanted to say a last thank you to the youth who were able to come and ask questions, and all of you who submitted a question, and your question got answered by some really great candidates tonight. And thank you to my team, Next 100. And with that being said, take care and make sure to vote. See you later. Bye, everyone. Thank you.